Good afternoon, friends. I want to cover another addendum to the agreement of sale, and I'm going to pull it up here. It's one that we continue to see a lot of, and want to make sure that you have a full understanding of it and when to use it and so on. This is the price escalation addendum, and when you're in a competitive market with competing offers, this is a good tool to be able to use. The reason being is it enables you to say, I'm going to offer you 300 for your house, but I want to escalate it up to $350. So that way, if you're going to be the winning bidder, you might be the winning bidder at 305, you might be at 310, and so on. So it's very useful, and it must be used properly, like all addendums. We have to use them in the spirit for which they were intended. But you put the property in there, the seller, the buyer. And where we really have to pay attention is in paragraph 2. If prior to seller's acceptance of buyer's offer to purchase, seller receives from another prospective purchaser a bona fide offer. Okay, and what that means is a bona fide offer means a legitimate offer from another person. It's not a situation where the seller can run out and just have a family member coin an offer that would drive up this existing offer. And another thing, for example, that could prevent it from being bona fide is, let's say in the MLS comments, there was a preferred settlement date of October 31st, but the offer that you're competing against is pushing the price escalation addendum up, has a settlement date of October 10th. That wouldn't make it a bona fide offer because it's not something that the seller would likely accept. So it has to be a bona fide offer. And so basically the buyer determines how much they want to beat the other offers by. I've seen 1,000, 5,000, 10,000. That's you can pretty much pick a number. Of course, the higher you go, you might be hopscotching a lot higher than what you would have to pay. Obviously, 10,000 is a lot more than 5 or 1. And then the key here is net purchase price. So again, if the selling agent comes back to you and they do have to provide you a copy of the contract, they said you're the winning bidder at 326 because the highest one we had under yours was 325 and you were going to beat it by 1,000. Well, you got to make sure that there's no closing cost assistance in there. Because if there was 6,000 in closing cost assistance, that's not really the net. The net is actually 319. So your winning bid should be based on that number, 320. So but again, if you're ever in a situation using this addendum with me, we'll strategize it more. But here in paragraph 3, one of 4 things is going to happen. Is one, if you're a cash buyer, you will probably check the first box, which is the mortgage contingency is waived. Or if you have ample money to make up an appraisal shortfall, we can waive that box. That gives your addendum extra strength, extra teeth. But generally speaking, sellers are looking for the gross amount of money, anyway, the most that they can possibly net. Now, you might also say that the loan amount stated in a mortgage contingency is increased. And that's often the box I check, because if I have someone who's putting 20% down on a $300,000 house, that's $66,000 down. This is the logical box to check, because on a 350 purchase, or in the example I gave, a 326 purchase, that's going to increase the down payment to reflect 80% of 326,000. The other thing you can do is that the first 20,000 of the difference made up of the purchase price would be paid in cash at settlement, and 6,000 added to the mortgage amount. Or this is where you can kind of break it apart in different pieces. And lastly, within the 4th box, I usually already have a pre-approval letter ready to go for the price escalation addendum maximum. But you do have within usually, you'd want this to be quick, 1, 2, or 3 days of execution, that you'll have the pre-approval letter updated. And then in paragraph 4, is there an appraisal contingency addendum attached? Because if their appraisal contingency is required to get it, you certainly want to check that. And whether or not there's gap coverage, for example, maybe you're going to 26 was the winning bid, but you had an extra 10,000, you would say that that on the last page of the contract that the buyer will absorb up to a $10,000 appraisal gap for a shortage of appraised value. So once you're the winning bidder, of course, you have to have a copy of the addendum that has been signed. And down here, the seller, when they go to sign this accompanies a contract already signed by the buyer. So the seller would then fill in instead of the 300,000, which is here. It's too many zeros. 300,000 would then be 326,000 would be the new purchase price, and then they would sign, and then they would make the changes to the initial part of the body of the contract as well. So again, this is one we're still seeing a ton of, and probably will be for quite some time. And so I wanted to share this addendum with you. That way you have some familiarity with it when it comes time to write the contract. So I hope you're doing well, and we will talk to you soon.